G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Pete's Gold Adventures. Yeah, today's something a little bit different. We're in the workshop. We're going to make a little hammer mill. I've always wanted to make one of these, so yeah, we can process a bit of quartz and yeah, just get through it a bit easier than run it through the dolly pot. Over the past couple of weeks I've been getting some bits and pieces together, including a little angle grinder and enough steel to sort of make a 200mm round housing. So without further ado guys, we'll get stuck into it and get this thing built. Cheers. Alrighty guys, so I've got most of my bits and pieces here. So making out of 6mm, so bit of 6mm by 90 flat bar there. I've just sprayed a bit of coal gel on it. Basically, so when I mark it out, it'll be easier to see the writing. A couple of 200mm base plates, I suppose. They're pre-punched. They're actually 18mm holes, so I thought, why not go overboard and get 18mm bolts? So nuclear bomb could go off inside of this thing. It's not coming apart. So we'll big bolts there. Big nuts, big washers. A couple of little bolts. They go into the side of the angle grinder there to lock on the angle plates that will basically weld to the side of that. Ran out, got myself a Ryobi angle grinder. I've got a Makita, but we'll use that for cutting stuff up, not destroying. So basically these, they come with a 4-year warranty, so if it explodes, I'll go get another one. But a couple bits of exhaust pipe. This is actually going to go onto here. This one is going to be an automatic outfeed. I won't have to turn upside down, shake it or anything. It'll just empty itself, and it's going to go down to a sealed bucket. So I'll run this down off the bench into a sealed bucket, try and keep the nasties away. Well, that's pretty much it, the nuts and bolts of things. So we'll start marking stuff out. We'll get stuck into it and get this show on the road. Alright guys, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put a hole through here. So that is basically for the shaft of the angle grinder. So I think that's 19mm. So let's put a hole through that first. So yeah, we're just going to put a hole right about there. Alright, so we've punched a hole through there. So yeah, 19mm. So that will fit on there like that. Nice. Alrighty, so next we might mark out this other bit of 6mm steel. Alrighty, so got some rough plans going on, just to basically work out some measurements and so forth. So initially I was going to run with a octagon, but that didn't really work out. So it's too square. So I wanted it more round. So in the end, I went with a hexadecagon. So that's a 16-sided circle. So we'll have 4 flats on each segment. Alrighty, so done a quick bit of maths. That works out to be 38.2mm on the outside and 36mm on the inside. And as we want to have the 36mm on the inside, because if we mark it on the outside, it'll expand and this will get larger. So basically we've got to cut it at 36mm on the inside. So the inside will stay the same, the outside will expand, it'll expand out to 38.2. So a little bit of marking out to be done. So I'll just throw some marks on here and we'll get stuck into it. Righto guys, next we're going to cut these lines. Now we're going to go a long way through, we're not going to go all the way through, so basically I want to get it so I can bend it, and then I'm going to just run a weld back up it once we've got the circle going on. Righto guys, so the next thing we've got to do is put an exit port in. So plate goes over here, with a hole there. The circle will be just sort of in here. Now I'm going to have to put the exit port just below that bolt so that all the material will come down. Out we go. down into that pipe. So I've got to miss that. So it means I've got to come back 1, 2, 3 onto the third, 1, 2, 3 onto the third, and just go a bit below it. So somewhere just about there should be below enough. Sort of get a bit of a center going on. So that's effectively that side. Transfer that over the other side. The other side's more critical. This is the outside, so it doesn't really matter. The other side, I've got to sort of keep everything within that tube. Might as well mark it on this side. I'll cut it first from this side. Eyeball at the center link. Alrighty, so everything, as long as it's within this. If I do go outside the tube, I'll just hit it with welder, weld it up. So as long as I keep everything inside that egg, it should be sweet. So I might put a groove every, I could try every 10 mil. All right, so I'm going to put, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 1 mil grooves in it. So that's where the material can exit. Alrighty, get the angle grinder fired up, and yeah, we'll get some grooves going on. Alrighty guys, I do have one lining up with this groove here, so I might pop that one through. That one's in the middle, so that'll be alright. And just so I don't sort of hit it and make a big, ugly opening that bigger than 1 mil will fit out of. I know, so there we go. So there's the holes, slots. Hoping that's enough. Because it might be a little bit difficult once it's all together to add additional slots. So I guess we'll see how we go. It is a prototype though, guys, so I've not made one of these before, so we'll see how we go. If it doesn't work, I can always cut the exit port off and drop a couple more through, so not a real big deal. Alrighty, I might start getting the bend on, I think. Alright guys, so the diameter of my rock crusher is pretty much the size of this disc rotor here, so I reckon if I sort of bend it around that, it should be somewhat close. This will be a bit of trial and error too, I think. Alrighto guys, so there we go. That was not easy. I actually had to beat it into submission. I wrapped it around the disc brake and that helped a lot. And that got it sort of around, but yeah, she wasn't so G-rated there at times. It was pretty difficult to do. So yes, if you do want to make your own, I would probably suggest go and get some 6mm, 200mm diameter pipe, because yeah, I thought this would be easy, but yeah, no, it's actually a bit of pain. Like you can get it there, but yeah, looks a bit ugly at the moment. But I'll weld them all up, linish it up, and it should look pretty. Chuck a coat of paint on it, look brand new. So now I've just got to whittle this down, and I'll weld that on there. So I've got a bit of a gap sort of going on because of the roundness. So I'll work on that, get that set up. But yeah, what I might do now is go about welding all these joins and fitting it to the other plate. Alrighty guys, I've made up a little bit of a loading chute here, so don't judge welding. Not a welder, but yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's, I don't know, it's about 4mm or so thick steel. Doesn't need to be that heavy. I just had it laying about, so I thought I'd use it. Alrighty, so it's got to be put in down here at the bottom. I'm gonna have to cut a hole through and then weld that onto there, like so. So the entry is going to be down the bottom here, and the exit is up top up here. So I'm going to put that down there, but I've also got to not foul up the angle grinder. The angle grinder will fit through there. This little fella, it's going to be really close to it. Alright guys, I'll get this sorted and I'll get back to you. Righto guys, so there we go. All welded, looking pretty. Gave it a bit of a linish because my welding's a little bit average. But what I have done is switch the direction of my slots. They were sideways. I thought they might get really beaten up and like just closed over. I think this way the material might escape better. So I've put a bit of a round on there. I'll sit that on there and I'll weld that on in a minute, and that'll be that. So that'll be then on that sort of an angle. So it'll sort of spin around and exit straight out that, hopefully. One feeder tube. So this is where, basically I'll drop my gear in here and this will pop out here and get pounded. All welded from the inside. So it's all completely sealed, so nothing should fly out there. Had to put this bolt in because it hits there. And I wanted it so the other plate slid on that way, and I bolted it that way. So, because I might even tack these bolts in place, but effectively, the material is going to come in through here, exit through there. So that's down towards the bottom, so drop in, do a few rotations, hopefully escape. That port is there. I've done a little bit of research. Some do have them in the face, some have them below. There was a suggestion to put it here, so it got the rotation and blew out, so I'll do that. Can only try it. Look, this is a prototype. I've never made one before, but yeah. But yes, if I was to do it again, I'd probably try and hunt down a bit of 6mm, 200mm round pipe. I don't know how. You'd easily enough be able to get hold of some, so what I might do now is weld that to that, and that to that, and well, we'll go. So there we go, guys. Exhaust port welded on. Some of the worst welding you've ever seen. I gave it a linish because it looked terrible. So yeah, should be right. Righto. So that's that. So I might sort of bolt a certain amount of it together to line everything up. But she's slowly coming together. Actually, I'll leave that off I'm going to weld the housing together now, so I might just see if I can pin it in place with the bolts and the washers. Alrighty, so that's somewhat pinning it in place. Chop that up a bit. Somewhat pinning it, but not great. Needs the other plate on. But I don't want that because I want to be able to weld it. I'm going to weld it from the inside so I don't have an ugly weld on the outside. You can see, I've got the exhaust port sort of up here. So hopefully it'll sort of drop in here, do a few rotations. It's only 1mm slots, so anything bigger than a mil is not going to get out. So basically do a certain amount of crushing, take the faceplate off and empty the rest out from there. But so yeah, any gold that gets stuck in there will probably get beaten into a little ball, but all good. Alrighty guys, I am going to weld this on and catch up with you soon. Okay guys, a little hammer mill is starting to take shape, so well on its way. So I've sort of slipped the bolts in, it's all welded in now. Those not so pretty welds are hidden forever in there, so yeah, so I've just got to mount the angle grinder. Probably be the next thing, so that's going to slip in just there. So I've got to weld a couple of brackets on for these bolts to go into, but it looks like it's going to just take a smidge off there, it's just not quite seating in the middle. And I've got a ring here. The ring will go on here to help locate that, so on there. So yeah, that'll go on there. I've just got to put him on there, stick that there, chuck a tack on it, and weld that on. Alright guys, so I've just put the flange on in here to lock the angle grinder in place. I have welded a little collar on here that sort of locates the angle grinder. You can see that weld. That's not a bad one, so I won't try and hide that one. It looks alright. Righto, so what I've done now is made two little brackets. These little brackets is going to go in here. Using these bolts. So I'll go in there. That's a lock nut. Apparently they recommend having lock nuts rather than just bottoming this out into that. So we'll go with what people reckon. There's one there. Another one here. Maybe the little plate's a tad bit long. Just not wanting to go in. So yeah, so next I'll get that bolted into there. Might just have to take a little bit off this thing, it's a bit long. Jump on the MIG, give that a tack, take the angle grinder off, weld it off. Alrighty guys, I'll get these sort of done up and I'll catch you up. Righto, so they're welded on. I can show you those welds too because they're not too ugly. So yeah, you can see the ring that I put in. That's basically just to locate it, gives it a bit more stability. Had to grind a little bit out of the face here because the tube was just that fraction too close for the angle grinder. But so that's basically done. That's still red hot, so I'm not touching it. So there we go on the inside. So now I've got to build the bolt part that'll hold the little spinny bit for the hammer. So that will be the next project. Haven't overly decided what I'm going to do there yet. We'll have a flat bar or put a round disc on. So, but that's the next thing. So also I couldn't get a tubular nut. I wanted to build that up so this will screw on to there effectively. I couldn't get a tubular nut, so I'm going to have to actually wind a few nuts onto this bolt, get them not binding, and yeah, weld them all together. So to make myself a tubular nut. So I'll get them like that. Make sure this goes in and out nice and easy, and then yeah, run a weld around all those. So I can then bolt that onto the angle grinder, and then I'll take the bolt out and the hammer part will go through that bit of the bolt there. So whilst this is cooling, I might weld these together. Yeah, then mount the angle grinder and yeah, work out how we're going to build this hammer.